Welcome to the third and final episode in my Truth Behind Teaching Online series. Today I'm talking honestly about what it's like to teach adults and to teach children online. Hi beautiful people, I hope you're well and having a good week. Of course, teaching adults and children can be very different for very different reasons. I teach both and I like teaching both. I like to have adult conversation with the adult learners, but the teaching kids is always surprising. They can always make you laugh. Adults can make you laugh too, but kids' imaginations cannot be competed with, I don't think. It's worth bearing in mind that online platforms pay more money for teachers of children. I wanted to teach adults, I thought, when I was training and doing my TEFL, because I was practicing teaching adults, and of course adults are self-motivated. That's the first difference we can talk about. If you speak to someone who has taken it upon themselves to learn English after their job, after a 40-hour week, they still log on and start their English and they've prepared for their English practice with you. They're very motivated and you get a lot out of a session with someone who is very engaged and very motivated. Kids obviously are usually put into a lesson or encouraged to learn from their parents, and their parents pay a lot of money for these online platforms, so they may be not as self-motivated because it seems so far away for them to know for when they might need English. Saying that, some of them still come to the lesson with so much enthusiasm to learn a new language. The second thing you'll notice is energy. If you come into a child's classroom, you need the energy to be big. Here's an example of how I speak to young children compared to how I speak to adults. Hi! How are you today? Are you happy? Here is Rex. Hello. Good job. Hi, how are you today? It's nice to see you again. How has your week been? So you see the difference, I hope. Yeah, when you teach kids, you think in the mindset of kids TV presenter.
Hello, hello, how are you?
For the younger ones, obviously I wouldn't want to patronise the older kids. Another difference if you're teaching kids is you're going to need a lot of props. Enter Rex, who you just saw. Mrs. Potato Head, just a little bit falling apart right now. I have flashcards. I'll do a whole separate video on props and where I got my props from and what props I use the most and how I use them. Maybe next week. Let me know if that would be useful to you. With adults, you don't really need props. It would be a little bit patronising, but you have lots of resources of websites to use. I teach on Cambly and they have their own resource library. I also use other websites as well. There's lots of different things you can use. If you're travelling, you might think, oh, it's much easier to teach adults because I don't need the props. But then it's a lot harder to get online work teaching adults. A lot of English teaching for adults, like business English, would involve going into companies or teaching in an English school, in a night school. So that's a topic for another time. The fourth difference is knowledge. It's much easier to be in control of the lesson teaching kids because you are gonna know more than them about English. Adult learners that are learning English and are quite fluent.
Yes.
Are I'm not going to say they know more than you because you should study to be a teacher. But when you're a new teacher, I found I was still new to relearning the rules of grammar and the different tenses. Some people might be watching this thinking, well, you're stupid, but I didn't need it. I hadn't needed to use it, the rules, for like 12 years since I left school. But someone that's avidly studying English every day, you might say a sentence and they'll go, wait, you said that in the present perfect tense. Should I say that in the present perfect continuous or the present perfect? Which is the right way to use? So knowledge is a big difference between teaching kids and teaching adults, because kids will just accept that what you teach them is right, whereas adults will be like, but I saw it on this sign like this, and then someone said it like this, so which is the right way? Obviously we know as English speakers sometimes there's several right ways, but it does test your knowledge of English. I think teaching a fluent adult that's interested in learning the specific rules and how and why we should do things, it stretches your brain, which is good. My fifth point, and I think this counts for teaching adults and kids, is how you use your initiative. I don't really think there's a difference in teaching adults and kids with this. I've just noticed sometimes people say they've been very animated and very loud, and they've said the child just wasn't reacting. I don't understand, I was being so fun. And some kids just have a more mellow demeanour, and I don't think it's bad to not bring your energy down but be calmer for those kids, because if you're really in your face they might just think, oh god, she is just so not cool, and they're not going to engage with you and want to learn English if they think you are on some wacky other level that they just don't dig. It's the same with adults. Sometimes they come to a lesson and they've picked their own lesson plan, and if you're going through it and you think it's just not working, maybe politely suggest to try something different or try something new. I think it's just one of those jobs where you always need to be able to think on your feet and use your initiative. So yeah, my advice to new teachers would be try and teach both adults and kids. See which you like best, see where your strengths are, be wary of the different motivation and why they're there in the first place. Bring your energy into every kid's lesson, but be mindful of when it might need pulling back a bit. Bear in mind that you're going to need a lot more props for kids-led teaching than for adult teaching. The difference in how kids and adults like to learn and what knowledge they already have is very different, so be mindful of that. And ultimately, I think just use your initiative. I hope that helps you decide if you want to be an online English teacher. If you are creative, you have initiative, and you're a people person, you will be fine. If this video was useful to you, please feel free to subscribe. I share videos on online teaching and remote working and positive thinking and life planning every Wednesday. I'll see you next week.